It started with my parents. They always carried a heart for people of different nations. My mum actually started up a friendship program here in Christchurch for international students to pair up with Christian families. And so I grew up surrounded by people of different nations. Hi, I'm Sarah Holah. My family are great friends with Graham and Lucy, who are pastoring in Japan. Graham and Lucy had been on a journey for a few years, seeking God through prayer and worship. God had shown them as a church that they were to reach a people that had never heard the good news of Jesus before. And he had shown them that that group of people were in Mozambique. He just hadn't shown them where or who exactly they were. At this time, my parents contacted them and asked if me and my sister could go on one of their normal mission trips that they would do to Malaysia. As they were preparing to go on this other trip, they actually invited us to go to Mozambique with them. So I was just 15 at the time and found myself going to Mozambique. There were no cell phones or way to contact my parents at the time, so I know for my parents this was especially scary. But they released us to go. We ended up visiting a place far in the north to a place called Angoche. Here there was a people group called the Koti who lived only in this part of the town and also on the islands that were surrounding it. We visited many places around the town first of all, and then one morning we got the opportunity to go and visit some of the islands. A leader of one of the islands gave us permission, and he also gave us a list of all the islands' names. That day we walked a long way and we met many people, tried to do some meetings, weren't particularly accepted there, but then, made our way back to the boat. It was hot and we were taking our time playing with the kids. By the time we got to the boat, it was getting dark. The waves got really choppy. There was heaps of water coming into the boat. We were scooping it out as it was coming in. And without realising what was happening, the boat owner had just redirected us to another island. So suddenly we stopped. This island was not actually on the list of names of islands that we've been given, and this name of the island is called Busu. We got out of the boat and some of the people from the village came out to meet us.
Nsiba mio kare digiri sekretari wa Surayetide. Yo kuda kukuzol bordor me kuoze lori mwinlanka vai kurwa fweni ndale ya nusura. Menzina laka nruwa vidral fan.
Zina laka kimayasa Hasani.
Me ganjua insa nanati. Mwetelie nini? Ronetelie lalea ntakuzila nyizingu la nusura. Mwe baba mwindaka afano yokurwa onkubali insa basi.
Aka tempo ate watu hapa meo agaru takako owadrama. Na juu lubori atuade selio lubori para nibate nusura.
Okubali lubori tori insa kifuela mio. Tita tienda ka usuru ni mwe baba. Mwe mwindaka mekira agindaka. Kwele kulombo sikubule kwele bale kwarela ulanka kusala lawaya.
Some of these people opened their heart and received Jesus and said to Graham, you have to come back, you have to tell us more. At that moment, Graham had realised that this was the place that God had sent them to. After this, Graham and Lucy went back to Japan, and then they made plans to return to Angoche. They lived in Angoche, and when they were there, they visited the island of Busu weekly for village meetings. And they also met with a smaller group of men to disciple them each week.
Ukinozela ukituvela kumbokera. Siku nosiwe bona arrivo 93 peso. Na mukaga nosiwe bahali ba moto.
Masafa ya geta roho nusura. Alibuka chuo lubori mtu kamfia pinguni aifieni kwa Yesu. Kambokerela Yesu kwa roho ya gayoshi.
Kweli keto wetu ohaya kwa wetu zukulua. Bakalela pa kaneteta muhai kinok.
This discipleship model, this model of discipleship has now made thousands of followers of Jesus. People through this have been set free by the truth. They now have hope in God, whereas before they lived in fear. God's love has built community there. Marriages are blessed, families care for their children, and the wider community become a source of support to celebrate with, grieve with, and to worship, pray, and grow together.
Masa agaru akipuela ye atepio visila mo kisbeti mio. Agaru akipuela runtelo kubalele. Mekino buela tempo mote ye ota ficana para mí tempo etire kireti matrimonio na mukaka. Pano nana que no zelazo que atumere a llamaza ko venki vene por tio shapwea uyana in sabamon.
I had no idea what I was getting myself into at 15. Yay, an adventure for me it was. But man, it has redirected my life. I remember the moment I knew deep in my heart that I was going to come back. For me, I went back to Mozambique at 18 and lived there for a year with Graham and Lucy. I watched the work of discipleship grow from its early stages and blossom into what it has become today.
Na twapale nayo no sila ania oli pisele nayo sala ankubale nayo insa. Wakula sumana ni mparsi paratabu. Amvire kezele yaka.
Later, we went and lived there as a family with 2 of our daughters. It was so hard living there with kids in a tough place and yet incredibly special. I see how God used my fragility as a mum and my children to open doors and bring his love to some of the least, the last and the lost. And through this, God cared for my girls as well, and he blessed them as well. Our family bonded with the people there in such an incredibly special way, despite the barrier of culture and language. Going to the nations is so important. How else would these precious people have heard the news of Jesus? Going is also something I want my children to experience, to continue to experience. This year, when Timmy connects with the ministries in Japan, with Graham and Lucy again, he is taking our oldest daughter, Grace, with him. I know that going can be a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice of time and money and energy and of fear and all those things. But our experience, we have seen the incredible value in serving God and the nations, being obedient to his call and partnering in his work, learning from others, and the incredible blessing that has been to our lives.
Ninjua matakuza wado lupoto nyizingu karipeti wena fueo. Masapano feno na nyizingu ya karibu na fueo.
Shabu.